Okay. Don't I have a nice voice?
Beautiful voice you have. And this is the first phrase in the recording. You do have a beautiful voice. So what I want to start from, I want to say that Mario Avila Design has created such a beautiful poster for that project. It is so elegantly exotic and exotically elegant that every time when I look at it, I just so happy. Thank you very much. And yes, it is what I wanted to start from, that art speaks to us, and it speaks to us. And as Jeanette Eberhardy wrote once, each creative act speaks to another creative act, which is, as we can see, so true. And when we just look around, observing the realities of our life that we inhabit, we find suddenly that the reality that we find ourselves now suggests that we have to take Midway Studios as an entire art scene. So we roaming around, we are looking, we are seeing, we are absorbing. For example, and then Petra, who is another angel that helps us, will just show us what we observing.
Yes, and I need to share my content. So I'll share my screen with you. And here we go. There's the first one.
Yes, so I start. And because a video that Petra so lovely has taken and now operating it allows me to cheat a little bit. I'm going to read, not only to speak. So, from the visual luxury of wall shapes and forms, bold and shiny and sophisticated and sharp of the fourth floor, namely Amy. Let's get to Amy again. Amy, Masha, John, Wonder Twins, Bill. Where is Bill? Bill? Yes, Bill. Eric and Lynn. Oh, yes, Eric and Lindsay. Southern. This is Southern. Eileen now. Eileen. Vladimir. Mona. Joel. Ari. Another butterfly. Nikolay.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is Olga. This is that Olga. So we proceed to the visual richness of the fifth. Truly Milan. Amazingly multifaceted. See? Heartwarming Krina. Amazing city circles of Michelle. And wooden wonders by Mark. This is what we see now.
Yes.
Happy energy of Eric's composition. Yes, it is. Cool Mario Avila design. Lou is here too. Yeah. See? Really cool.
Oh, these are Petros.
Enigmatic Ahmed.
Oh, Petros participating from this one is probably Petros.
And
Oh,
Lonnie,
that's
and
right.
the architect and the painter. Airy architecture by Joshua. Julie's equestrian-inspired textile designs. And Jeanette's garden, right in the center of the floor, under the light coming from the skylight of the field. Let's stay here for a little while, because I want to say that when we met, as we met at Jeanette's garden when working on Jeanette's talk at 89, I immediately fell in love with her garden. Now, what's happening after our little Midway tour is the following. Simple understanding occurs, and we can just travel around while like philosophizing a little bit. So a simple understanding occurs that nature of making is one and the same for all the spheres it is at work, as if all many paths of making, like water streams, run into one grand river and come together and intertwine and enhance each other while running. And getting back to our Midway grounds, I've approached Jeanette with the idea, what if we bring Nikolay's flower painting to visit these gorgeous plants of the garden? Let's say putting Nick's flowers on easels around the garden, something of that kind. And guess what does Jeanette say? She says, garden will give Nikolay's flower painting a hug, will embrace his art. And Jeanette's garden literally opens its embrace to Nick's artwork by offering the wall amidst the mighty plants of the garden. What we experience here is a cool concord of all the players, so to speak, of this artsy game. The plants of the garden, the flower paintings, the walls, the person who's been caring for the garden, Jeanette, who also put chairs here within the special entity of this art zone. This is it. Yeah. With the text, very important. The person who's been making flower paintings and whose flower paintings are blooming within the garden embrace. Understandably, Nikolay here is enjoying the flow of the peak experience. All of these players have contributed, devoted their creative energy to the act of art, the way that brings their creative efforts into resonance, right in the middle of this dark, hard time of the season, creating this splash of life and love. Creative forces are working via trunks and crowns of trees, stems and petals of flowers, hearts and tender hands of gardeners, souls and gentle brushes of art makers. The melodies of creation are filling the air, and the concord of these melodies bring to us the Paradiso song. Now, I must say, it is difficult to resist bringing the great authority into our play. It is what Dante Alighieri says in the final lines of his La Commedia Divina. Dr. Marina Ritzerev, professor of musicology at Bar Ilan University and author of many, many wonderful books, has kindly agreed to recite to us these 4 last lines of Canto 33 of Paradiso in the original Old Italian that Dante spoke and wrote. So, Marina, that's your turn.
All'alta fantasia che manco possa, ma già volgevo il mio udisio, e il velle si come rotto silgamente mossa, l'amor che muove il sole e le altre stelle.
Beautiful indeed. But that's not all that we have prepared for you. Bill has agreed, as good as he is always, to recite the translation of these very lines into English, translation by Longfellow. Now it's your stage, Bill.
Yes, translation, I looked it up, it's from 1867. Thank you, Olga.
Thank you.
Here, the vigor failed the lofty fantasy, but now was turning my desires and will, even as a wheel that equally is moved, the love which moves the sun and the other stars.
A round of applause. It sounds like, to my eyes, like music. Now we're gonna listen to the music in Czech translation. Petra, you are golden from top to bottom. Just go.
Thank you. Tu síla skvětlé obraznosti splala, neb jako kolo v stejném ruchu ve zdi, mou vůli a mé chtění láska hnala, jež uvír žene slunce a vše hvězdy.
It will be logical to ask Nikolay to recite another very beautiful translation into Russian by Mikhail Lozinsky, who worked on it more than 10 years. And you will hear the music, though maybe you don't understand the words, but you know what it is about, because you hear how it sounds.
Здесь изнемог высокий дух взлет, но страсть и волю мне уже стремил, как если колесу дан ровный ход. Любовь, что движет солнце и светил.
You know, before I offer the stage to Jeanette, because Jeanette has said that she will share with us some of her thoughts and ideas. You know, it just occurred to me that it would be logical before that to ask Marina to recite to us the original text again, just one more time.
All'alta fantasia che manco possa, ma già volgevo il mio udisio e le velle si come rotto silgamente mossa, l'amor che muove il sole e le altre stelle.
Oh my goodness, my gracious goodness. Thank you all. Now, Jeanette, take it on.
When Olga suggested the idea, asked me to consider the idea of Nikolay's paintings with the plants that are outside of Studio 505, I thought of it as what poet David White calls the great invitational moment, to be in conversation with Nikolay's art. This moment is best described. Now, you should know, I have been in conversation with Nikolay's art earlier. In one of the shows that Milan had organized, there was a painting. It was not a flower painting. It was a different one. And I stood in front of it for a good long while and had a conversation with that painting. So it was natural for me to then think about the way in which artist Timothy Hawksworth describes To understand a painting, you need a chair. I didn't have a chair that day, but he describes that painting communicates through the power of unnamed substances. It creates silence inside us, which the imagination has the room to travel. And I felt that. In fact, a silence had been created inside of me when I stood in front of Nikolay's painting. So it was very easy for me to, in a heartbeat, in a moment, say to Olga, of course, let's do it. I felt, now, I'm going to disclose something. I hope this is okay with you, Olga.
Of course.
We didn't talk beforehand, so this is unscripted. But
Yeah.
Olga asked me more than once, would you like to see the flower paintings before we do this? I said, I don't need to. I already know that I'm going to be able to be in conversation with them because I've had an early experience with one of Nikolay's paintings. So it's fine, whatever you want to do. I think Olga asked me this question 3 times on 3 different occasions, not believing necessarily, or perhaps just wanting to be extra careful checking the answer. I felt that there was a certain conversation that Nikolay was having with, I assumed it would be true because I saw it in the other one, with the flowers in the paintings. The flowers were not objects to him. They were living and healthy and breathing from their own form of consciousness. Some of these conversations, I believe, actually I know from the documentation he provided us on the wall, that he's been in conversation for quite a while with. So for example, 2 chrysanthemums, one that I was wildly attracted to, as was a very dear friend of mine who came to visit and immediately gravitated there. So 2 chrysanthemums I looked at and I thought, Nikolay has conversations with these flowers, like the conversations that I have with paintings, with plants, when I am working in the garden. Now this made me very curious, of course, because 2 chrysanthemums was painted according to the documentation that Nikolay provided us in 2000. So I looked at red flower and said, when was red flower created? I feel a similar conversation there. And it was 2009. I said, so I see. This conversation for Nikolay has been going on for a long while, much like the conversation that I have had with plants. The plants, like the flowers for Nikolay, please forgive me, Nikolay, if you feel I am saying more than you wish, but it is what I feel about your work. The plants are not objects for me. Now, I know you might watch me working with plants out in the urban garden and say, what do you mean? You're moving around these plants like they're objects, Jeanette, like all us humans do, because plants don't have feet. So we have the capacity to do this. But the conversation that I have with plants is closer to the feeling that is expressed in Nikolay's paintings. Now, I'm best able to describe this to you by sharing with you a short poem from Denise Levertov. It's called Aware. When I opened the door, I found the leaves speaking amongst themselves in abundant whispers. My presence made them hush their green breath, embarrassed the way humans stand up and button their jackets, acting as if they were leaving anyway, if the conversations had ended just before you arrived. I liked the glimpse I had, though of their obscure gestures, I liked the sound of the private voices. Next time, I'll move a little cautious, like cautious sunlight, open the door by fractions, eavesdrop peacefully. Denise Levertov.
Thank you.
I did make an intuitive leap when Olga asked whether I would be interested, and that leap served me very well. I should also say that I'm very, very interested in collaboration, how one imagination will speak to the next. When our stories are woven together, they may teach us about a connection that we didn't even realize we needed to have. This connection that I am describing to you shields our vulnerability. Vulnerability is not a weakness, but the faculty with which we learn how to be open to the questions that drive us. For the artist, their questions are the generative force that lead them. Much of this learning that I have about vulnerability, which is very different than the learning in the dominant culture of what vulnerability is, comes from poet David White. And so I wish to acknowledge the teachings that he's provided for me. Robust vulnerability, David White describes, is the ability to hold your questions in spite of the dominant culture, in spite of what is circling around you, swirling around you, and sustain our answers. Again, I'm going to speak from artist Timothy Hawksworth, and I have given a poem, or an essay rather, of his at the front of this little gallery show that we have created together. It's clear, and it is based for me on this experience with collaborative work with Olga and Nikolay, that we are only glimpsing a fraction of what's out there and what is inside us. The arts, at their best, have sought to offer us experience in the sense for this possibility. And this is why I answered to Olga's question, because I think that the collaborative process between all of us here offers a kind of possibility that creates new dreams for us. It creates moments of extension and hope. And those words I thank Timothy Hawksworth for. I hope you'll come visit us. It's been quite a beautiful collaborative effort. Each step of the way, when they were deciding what paintings, and then when I started seeing the installation, I said, my God, we've got to have chairs. And if we're going to have chairs, we have to have Timothy Hawksworth essay. And if we're going to have we can't have the whole essay, we can only have excerpts. I can only do so well in that. So I needed to involve Mario and Hannah to help me. Like, how do I format this? I've tried my best. Please help me. So you see, it takes all of us. And the beauty, I will tell you, I have heard from so many people as they pass by, the way in which this has uplifted them. From people working in the building to people living in the building. And so I thank you. One day, I'll leave you with one tiny story. I stepped outside my door, a time when I was, working at the computer, crazy stuff related to my teaching work. And I stepped outside because I needed to have a moment. And so I was having that moment standing in front of 2 chrysanthemums. And an individual walked by and looked at me kind of surprised. And I said, I just needed a moment. I needed a moment to restore before I go back in and go back to work. And that's what art does for us. It helps. So thank you very much. Let me start with my thank yous to Olga because Olga asked the question innocently, as Olga always does. Not sort of saying, I have an idea. I'm thinking of an idea. If you hear Olga say that, be warned. You're in for a major adventure coming your way. Major adventure coming your way. So that innocent sounding question opened up a very beautiful experience. Thank you, Olga. Thank you,
Thank you
Nick.
so much. Thank you so very much. You know, of course, we spend some time over there on the floor while working, while thinking, etc., etc. And I just noticed that people passing by and coming from the elevator, they didn't say anything. They just looked, and the expression of their eyes was telling. I
That's right.
didn't even need to ask my questions to them. I just saw it. And when Petra and I started working on the videos, it looks like one take. No, it was number of takes. Where we met at this place, sitting at your chairs, Jeanette. It was a very, very inviting, embracing you with friendship and how to explain it. When the space wants you and you step into it, you feel it right away. It is what happened as a result of our working together. Jeanette has invested into it so much, just not to mention the plants, which are happy when they are taken care of by Jeanette. They look happy, they behave happy. When you touch them, they just transfer the happiness from their being. But collaboration with such a collaborator as Jeanette, not only a pleasure, it is also learning experience. Not that I didn't have a chance to read that text which Jeanette placed over there in the garden. I didn't, and then I read it because of Jeanette. But learning experience of how to connect with different people, completely different. We are different people. We all are different people. However, when the world steps on my foot to heart, I just walk around the building and I find the place, as Jeanette found flowers, Nikolay, to refresh herself. And now I think that if we need that little hug, just come to the fifth. You open the door of the elevator and you don't need to do anything else. Only step one step out and you're there. That's all. I don't know. Should we ask Petra to run her video again for us? Or somebody wants to say something or to add something or to comment something?
I would like.
Good. Well, just my lovely partner, wife, Sardine has a few plants that are taking over our little studio, and it's wonderful. But this rarely happens. But we do have a Christmas cactus, and it rarely blooms. But all of a sudden, the other day, and we hardly ever give it any water, which is against the instructions. But the other day, an abundance of blossoms started to come out, and that's always, for whatever reason, I don't know how these things work, but that's it's always very special and inspiring.
The plants, of course, I like. I have some several tree friends, and I am visiting from time to time just to converse.
Olga, I
Yes.
don't know if I don't know if you can see me, but I'm here. It's Linda.
Yes, Linda, this is our dear friend, Linda Hirsch. Before you talk, I want to present you to others as well as others to you. It's a very special friendship because when we came as emigres to this country, Linda and Gary, her husband, were so-called volunteers who helped us to settle. And she did help, they both did help us and kept helping later. And then when the assignment was done, we parted. And then at some point, we met again for some show. And since then, we are friends for what, 30 years? Speak now. Linda, beautiful artist, photographer, and it's worth it to look at her work. Hopefully sometime we will be able to bring her art into the Midway gallery just to enjoy it. Okay.
Thank you for sharing. This is delightful in many ways, on many levels. First of all, I am a huge fan of David White's poetry, and it often brings me to tears. It is so beautiful. So that was a real surprise. Thank you. And secondly, among my other skills, I am a certified meditation teacher, which Olga has dipped her toe into bravely on occasion.
Thank you.
And always brings something meaningful. So I love teaching and practicing, and lately I have been going to greenhouses and sitting to meditate and photographing. So I had no idea about this show, what it was to be. And I sent Olga a video that I made, iPhone video, of various deep details and textures of the plants. And then poof, here is this wonderful collaboration. So I was, of course, thrilled to be invited, and I will come in person. And finally, because I see a little dancing bloom here, I went out to Tower Hill to see the Orchid Show. They have an orchid show each year at Tower Hill Botanical Gardens. And I have another video entirely of orchid blooms. So this is the time of year. Nikolay, was it Nikolay who said about the cactus? No, someone else said that their cactus.
Bill said.
Sorry, I'm watching this on my phone. It's a tiny screen. The cacti have been just bursting this year, lately more than ever. I don't know. It's magical. And the orchids, I have orchids in my home, and I'm waiting for them to dance with me like this little blossom. So thank you, just from the bottom of my heart. Art, of course, comes from the soul, and when we see deeply into one another and into the beauty of nature, it is so restorative and so healing. I'm very pleased. I've actually got goosebumps. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your beautiful words. Yes, I really wanted to bring Linda to our place. Sometimes she's coming to see what we are up to. And I still hope that she'll be able to come. She lives relatively far away in Metro West. But I hope that we will be able to share not only our thoughts and talks and videos, but to share the actual work, because you all know very well, better than anyone else, artists you are, that whatever documentation you do, how much of artistry you put into it, the real thing is still real, still real. It breathes with you and for you. And one interesting thing is that you are breathing for it, and it feels it. What we have for you now, if maybe really before we part, because I don't want to over challenge Hannah and Mario's kindness before we part with using too much time. Before we part, maybe we'll run again through that work that Petra has done for us. Can we do it, Petra?
Do you want to run it again, the video? Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. We can do that. Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure. Share my screen.
I'll be silent. Nobody will bother you.
Don't be silent. I'm gonna do it here.
Да, я понял. Я поэтому идет.
Nice shot.
Что это в самом деле очень замечательно. Разве нет?
Ну, хорошо.
Марина из Нью-Йорка не приедет. Или, да, может быть, приедет. Не знаю.
Хорошо свою речь прочитал.
Мгм. Ты хорошо прочитал.
Мне не трудно знать.
Красиво.
Я хотел бы схватил приступ чиха,
Слава Богу.
сопровождающийся сопельками.
Мгм.
Да, правда, последний не так было хорошо видно на экране.
Булку.
Olga's beautiful sign.
Sign, yes. Sign disappeared from the elevator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Somebody loved it that much, I believe.
Yes.
It is what we say when our work is taken from the show sometimes. We usually repeat, somebody loved it so much that they want it for themselves.
You mean our current show in main gallery?
This too, Milan.
They loved it so much, yes.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to give your voice. And this is those two flowers that Jeanette has mentioned.
I do wish to share with you that I have had a number of people express their appreciation for the poster for this show, Olga.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I just tried to be as invisible as possible, just to show what you two are invested into it as artists. And for me, gardener is the title, not the name of what you are doing. It is the title, gardener, right? Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So thank you very much for coming to see what we've done, to listen what we was prepared for you, and for those who shared their recitation with us and the thoughts and just the friendly presence. At some point, for some time, we didn't have those art salons on Zoom. We didn't have them for a few months, and I even thought that possibly it was time to stop doing those virtual activities. But apparently, we still are interested in doing something in this format. What do you think?
Yes, Olga, apparently we still have something to say.
Okay, apparently we do. Something to say and something to share.
Yes.
In this forum.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That is popular vote, I believe. And even Blue has come. Yeah, I can see it. Oh,
Thank you so much, Olga. I'm going to have to go, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I love the paintings and the plants. And you can't see in the back, but is lots and lots of plants back there.
good. It means that plants love you, because if they don't love you, they are not staying. They just gone.
And they're going with me down the hall. Thank you, everybody.
Moving. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice to see
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga.
Thank you.
you next
It was
time.
very beautiful and inspiring.
Thanks, everybody. Good talk.
Thank you,
Just-
Marina.
this
Thank you,
is
Marina. So,
Our one.
look at this. Look at
one.
Ooh,
one.
there's
And Petra has shown some very beautiful blue.
Yeah, those.
Aha.
orchids.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yes. You've got to go to Tower Hill.
We will. We will. Thank you.
No.
Good
So
night.
my next idea, before you all leave, my next idea, yeah, Jeanette is laughing. It's just a seedling of that, just the seed of the idea. I've seen a very interesting, not one work, but actually two works created by Emma, Petra and Milan's daughter. And I was so taken that young child has shown such a special maturity combined with that very special sensibility and artistry that only children have when they are not yet entering the difficult teenage years. And I thought, what if we think about doing something about art of our children? And make it another Zoom 81, 89. Just please think about it and let me know what you think. And we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good, but you know how it is with children also.
I know that these are the ways and the ways, and we shall see. We shall see if we really want it, and if we really sincerely. You cannot deceive a child. If you're sincere, you're taken as such, and We are sincere.
Yeah.
We shall see how it works out.
Maybe there are more children here that are creative, actually.
Yes, I know. I
Maybe.
know. I remember that, and I put it in on the shelf of my mind to think about and to discuss that with parents of those children. All right. All right.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Hannah and
Thank you.
Mario. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It is truly, truly amazing. And I love so much what you have done for this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
May I-
Mario. Thank you.
Question, is Mario, did you work with Jose Mateo?
Yes.
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 Thought I knew the name. Linda Hirsch. I did the
Oh, yeah.
project for the ballet. Oh my God. I've never met you.
It's funny because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, where do I know the name from?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you.
All right. Eventually you met,
Yes.
Yes.
even if virtually only, but
Mm.
not a big thing.
I was just going to give one suggestion that it's actually from Hannah's idea. We should all have tea in the garden and make it
Aha.
one day,
Uh-huh.
one
Okay.
Sunday or one Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was
That's
something
an
about
excellent
what
idea.
we were talking. We touched that topic with Nikolay, and I didn't. I dared not to share it with you, but we thought about it as well. So if
Good.
3, 4 people are thinking about it, maybe somebody else join and chew on this idea a little bit.
Mad Hatter Tea Party. Aha.
Yeah, exactly.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
Good night, Linda. Thank you very much for coming.
See you next time.
Ciao.
See
Bye-bye.
you.